Welcome to episode 41 of FTCE Seminar, a teacher certification podcast. I'm your host, Mercedes Musto. In today's episode, I'll be talking about the FTCE General Knowledge Mathematics subtest. How are we going to podcast math? Well, I'm glad you asked. The podcast math series is a collection of math conversations. Can we really talk about math in a podcast? Yes, of course we can. In fact, every time I work with students in algebra, geometry, probability, or statistics, I can tell two things. When you can explain a concept to me, like in a math conversation, it helps with confidence and understanding. And you need both to pass the test. So let's get started. For the FTCE GK math subtest, you will need to know about real numbers and how to identify their location on a number line. Concept number 1, real numbers and the number line. Let's start with the basics. What exactly are real numbers? Definition: real numbers encompass a vast range of numbers, including rational numbers like whole numbers, integers, decimals, fractions, and irrational numbers like pi and the square root of 2. Well, now let's talk about the number line. Definition: visualize a horizontal line extending infinitely in both directions. Let's call this line the number line because it represents every real number's unique position on the number line in a structured manner. The structure is like this. 0 indicates the middle or origin of the number line. From there, positive numbers are represented as points to the right of the 0 and negative numbers to the left of the 0. Now that all the real numbers are organized on the number line, we can determine which numbers are less than or greater than each other, or simply apply the real numbers to solve mathematical operations. Next, let's break it down a little more and talk about exactly where these numbers are on the number line. Listen carefully and use your mind to visualize these number sets. Number 1. Whole numbers. Whole numbers include all the natural numbers plus 0. What are the natural numbers? Okay, listen, the natural numbers are 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, whereas the whole numbers set include 0 plus 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and on and on and on. Integers include 0, all the natural numbers, plus their additive inverses. What? Okay, on a number line, more on this later, it would look like -1, -2, 0, +1, +2, and on and on. Let's look at fractions with a non-zero denominator and decimals that are terminating and repeating. Examples of this include stuff like 3/5 or 0.60. For more on how to convert fractions to decimals, listen to episode 33. Okay, where were we? Yes. Most fractions and decimals will appear between the integers because this type of number represents a part of a whole number. So on the number line, a fraction may appear like this: -1, 0, 3/5, 1. Great! You got this. I knew you would. Okay, we did mention irrational numbers, but don't run away just yet. Examples of irrational numbers include pi and the square root of 2. Here's the thing. Irrational numbers are not rational. This means that we can only approximate where-ish they may appear on the number line. So we estimate, like in this example. The number for pi is a mathematical concept, and it's something like this: 3.14159265359, and it goes on and on. Now, we can't fit that number on a number line with perfect accuracy, but we can estimate that 3.14 will appear between the whole number 3 and 4 on the number line. The same goes with the square root of 2. The square root of 2 is approximately 1.41421356237, or 1.414 for short, meaning that the square root of 2 is not a whole number. Therefore, a it's not a perfect square. So where would the square root of 2 fit on the number line? Well, that's a great question. The answer is similar to the one for pi. We're going to estimate approximately where the square root of 2 will appear, and since it's 1.414, it will appear between the whole numbers 1 and 2. Let's review. Real numbers encompass a wide range of numerical values. The number line provides a visual representation of these numbers. In visualizing real numbers on the number line helps us understand their relative positions so we can determine comparisons of real numbers, which one's greater or less than, or, so we can use the numbers in mathematical operations. For more practice with math, visit ftceseminar.com to study for the test. The important thing is to start studying today so you can pass the teacher certification exam. Well, what are you waiting for? You can check us out on YouTube at FTCE Seminar and start studying today. This podcast was recorded at the Pickens Multimedia Studio at the University of West Florida. This podcast is listener supported. Contributions can be made via the listener support link on Spotify, or you can buy me a coffee at FTCE Seminar. This is your host, Mercedes Musto. Join me again on FTCE Seminar, a teacher certification podcast, so you can pass the FTCE.